Hello and welcome to Brickingit, Bellway's very own podcast, which gives you unique insight into careers in the property building industry and life at Bellway. We'll be getting to know the Bellway team, debunking some stereotypes about working in the industry and giving you the bricks to start building a career in construction and housing. I'm Laura Bell, Group HR and OD Manager at Bellway. In this episode, I'm joined by Tony Atkin, Group Production Managing Director. From starting as a trainee in house building some 27 years ago to holding roles with a number of the big five house builders, Tony has progressed through his career both in the sector and at Bellway. We'll hear more about Tony's journey and his top tips for forging your own career path shortly. Hi Tony, thanks so much for joining us today. Really interested to hear all about your career journey. I know we've worked together for a little while and I don't think I've ever asked you about it.
Well, good morning, Laura. As Laura's mentioned, I'm Tony Atkin. I'm the Group Production Managing Director at Bellway, and I've worked in the construction industry for the last 27 years. 25 of those years have been in the house building industry. My background is in commercial or quantity surveying, and I started my career in the construction industry as a trainee quantity surveyor when I was 19 years old, moving to house building when I was 21, and actually securing my first house building job through college where I was studying day release at the time. Bellway is my fourth role in house building, and I've worked for three of the top 4 large house builders throughout my career.
Wow. So what got you started in the first place? I suppose when you were young and at college, I'm not saying you're old now, what made you think really fancy a career in construction or house building?
There's no easy answer to that. I sort of fell into it, if I'm honest. I didn't have any family in house building. There was no advice from school. I just left college, full-time college, when I was 19. I was looking for a new job and an opportunity came up to work in a construction company which was local to where I live, and sort of just went from there, really. Took the opportunity as a trainee QS. Didn't really know what a trainee QS was at the time, if I'm honest. But, and you very quickly realise, well, actually, this is a career I'm enjoying and there's opportunities out there. So, yeah.
So from there to the dizzy heights of Group Production Managing Director. So tell me a little bit about what your current role involves.
So my current role at Bellway is quite varied. I'm responsible for quite a large team at head office, which covers technical, commercial, procurement, construction, engineering, sustainability in the environment, and also our future homes, which incorporates our artisan house type range, so design as well. So day to day, I'll be working with other heads of department at head office, but also working with our 23 divisional officers and their management teams, working quite closely with them on all related matters to, like I say, technical, construction, commercial, etc. really. So, yeah.
I've got lots of questions to ask you about your role because I know it's a really wide-ranging remit and lots of interesting stuff in there. But first, on this podcast, we really like to get to know our guests. What is your go-to afternoon snack?
Oh, it's a bit boring, really, if I'm honest, Laura. It's I like a banana in an afternoon. So if you'd asked us what my mid-morning snack was, then I would say something like Kit Kat, Blue Riband, Club. I like all the old school biscuits.
Good, okay, banana, very healthy. So going back to your current role, what aspect are you most passionate about?
There's not really just one thing that I'm most passionate about. I mean, cost control and margin is always top of my list of passions because of my background in quantity surveying. The last few years I've been heavily involved with sustainability and our Better with Bellway strategy. So, I'm really passionate about that now as well. Also our artisan house type range. We're looking at what we need to do to adapt that house type range to meet our carbon reduction requirements and the requirements of our customers in the future. So again, that's really something I'm really passionate about. And then lastly, I would say, from a construction point of view, it's quality and on-site, giving the site managers on-site the right tools to do their jobs successfully.
Okay. Now, as you said, I know one of the areas you're really passionate about is ESG, which is environmental, social and corporate governance. And this is a really topical area both for Bellway and for us. Can you tell us a little bit more detail about the work that you and your team are doing? Because I know you've got some really exciting projects going on. Yeah,
so about a year and a half ago, we started looking at our ESG strategy and what we're doing at Bellway. We engage the consultants and we work with them to implement what today is known as Better with Bellway. So it's our new sort of business strategy. And it's about being a sustainable and a responsible business. So off the back of that, we have lots of different pillars. So we have one for being an employer of choice. We have one for customers and communities. We have one for carbon reductions. We've got one for charitable engagement, resource efficiency, sustainable supply chain, biodiversity. So off the back of that, I mean, some of the most exciting projects, and particularly one that we're really focusing on at the minute, is probably our flagship one, is the work that we're doing with Salford University, which is our Energy House project. So we built a home, a Bellway artisan home, in an environmental chamber in the Energy House facility at Salford University, and that officially opened 2 weeks ago. And we actually start the testing today, believe it or not.
Wow.
So that testing is going to last 6 months, and that will allow us to test various different heating systems and how they perform. Because amazingly, this environmental chamber can mimic 95% of the Earth's temperatures. So it can go from -40 to +40 degrees. It can make it rain. We can have wind in there. We can have solar gain. We can even have snow.
Wow.
So yeah, that's a project which we're working on at the moment, and that's really about shaping what we want to do with our future homes going forward.
That sounds really exciting. You've mentioned artisan a couple of times.
Yeah.
Just for the benefit of listeners who might not know what that is, in a nutshell, can you just explain what artisan is to Bellway?
Yeah, so artisan is our Bellway core range of house types that we build. So we have, at the moment, we have 76 different house types that we build across the country, ranging from a 2-bed home right up to a 5-bed home and everything in between. So that's our standard range of house types that we have.
Great, thank you. So we've talked about, the sustainability piece in your role, because I know that's something that you champion. Can you tell us a little bit more about this and the importance of sustainability at the house building sector?
Yes, so I mean, sustainability is really important, not just to the house building sector, but to all sectors of the economy. But in the house building sector, we've got a sort of unique opportunity to build new homes that are more energy efficient to allow our customers to move in. So we can almost future-proof the specification of those homes, which will include things like better levels of insulation and then more technology as well, things like photovoltaic or PV panels, air source heat pumps are going to be something that we're going to do from 2025, because the industry is moving away from fossil fuels, which means no more gas. And we'll also be working closely with our suppliers as well, because we have targets to reduce embodied carbon, which comes from the materials that we buy. So it's in the manufacturing process, but also how they're delivered to our sites as well. So we're working closely with our suppliers in that regard.
Fabulous. Can I just ask, just for the benefit of me and listeners, what on earth is a photovoltaic panel? So
photovoltaic panels is, they're in the old days, you would have called them solar panels. So they go on your roof. So I think most people recognise it as solar panels. Yeah. So they go on your roof and they generate electricity from solar gain, which can be used in the house, and also can be stored through diverters and through batteries and things like that as well. So you're reducing the energy bill for the end user, i.e. the customer. Makes
sense. Well, speaking of ESG, I know as well in the last couple of days, thanks to your team, we've been awarded living wage accreditation, which is really exciting for Bellway as well. So definitely a lot going on in your area. Going back to you and your career, obviously you joined the sector as a trainee and have progressed in the industry and at Bellway. Were you aware of the career paths available to you when you first started out?
To be honest, I wasn't. If in the early stages of my career, we weren't really informed at school, or even when I was at college on a full-time basis, we weren't. It was just when I got that first job, I took the opportunity, kept my head down, worked hard, and sort of went from there, really. And also, I mentioned it earlier on, none of my family worked in construction, so I didn't have that, that parent or that uncle or auntie or anyone to ask, about that. So what I would say is, though, after working in the industry for a short period of time, you'll become very aware of the opportunities that are there and available across the different disciplines. So like I say, I wasn't really aware in the early stages of my career.
Okay. I'm really interested to hear from your point of view, because of the range of stuff that I know that you're involved in, how you feel the industry's changed from when you first started your career to now, because I guess a lot of things have happened, but I'm just interested to hear your take on that.
I think, in a lot of ways, it's not changed that much.
Mm-hmm.
If we're still building homes for customers, we're still using traditional methods to build those homes, although we have got more modern methods of construction that we use now. Again, they're on a more of a smaller scale. We see a bit of timber frame, we see a bit of modular build. We've got more off-site manufactured products that are starting to be used across the industry. But I think really where we've seen the most changes is probably in the regulatory areas. Particularly over recent times, we've seen quite a lot of changes from a technical point of view and things that we have to comply with. One of the big changes the industry's gone through is obviously the advancements in IT, and the IT enables people to do their jobs in a more efficient way, whether that's out on site or whether that's in the office. So we've definitely seen changes there over my career. And also, finally, I'd also think there's more young people aware of the house building industry now and the opportunities that are available to them through apprenticeships and graduate schemes, which certainly in the early stages of my career, I don't think that was the case.
So, Tony, keen to get your view. Graduate schemes or apprenticeships, which do you think are best?
Well, I think the apprenticeship route is best. I think it's a great opportunity to earn and learn. Generally, you'll be working 4 days a week and you'll be at college or university 1 day a week. That was the route I went down in the early stages of my career. That's the route that my daughter's working to at the moment. And I think it's good, even if you're not as academic at school, you have the opportunity to go down the trade apprenticeship route to work out on site as maybe a bricklayer or a carpenter or an electrician or a plumber, something like that. But then if you are interested in working in the office, there's all those opportunities that we mentioned earlier on, in the sales roles, in the technical roles, the commercial roles, construction in the office roles, and things like that. So that would be my preferred route.
Okay, thank you. I guess $1 million question, what do you think the future holds for the house building industry?
I think the future is bright for the house building industry. It's well documented. There's a shortage of homes across the UK. And I think our industry needs to work with all stakeholders to help fulfill those requirements, and growth will be required. There'll be challenges along the way, as there always is, but we'll position ourselves to meet the requirements of the market. So I think the future is bright.
That's good to hear. And I think what's really interesting for anyone listening to the podcast who's considering a career in construction is hopefully they've identified, even just from your own career journey, the range of roles that are available and the different kinds of pathways you can take. You started out as a QS, but now you're involved with and lead a team who look at construction, who look at sustainability and all of the ESG piece, which is really broad. What do you think, it doesn't have to just be one thing, but what do you think helped to facilitate your development as you progressed your career? And I guess in that, are there any takeaways from people who might be listening and want to follow a similar pathway?
I think for me, there's mentors and managers that have helped us along the way. There's people who definitely invested time in me in the early stages of my career to sort of help and support me. And then it's also really important to listen to the people around you. Generally, we work in open plan offices. You've got more experienced members of the team that you're sitting with. So I always think that's helped us in the early stages of my career. I think as my career has then progressed, it's been about into sort of management positions. Then it's been about the team and the people that I work with, because as we know, you can't do anything on your own. And it's really about having those good people around you who can support you and work with you. So having a good team is key as well.
Completely agree. Is there anything that you regret looking back from starting out to where you are now, or anything that you would have done differently?
Do you know, I don't think there is, to be honest. I think, I wouldn't really change how my career's gone. There's always little things that you look at, but there's nothing really springs to mind. I think it's important to reflect to a certain extent, but I prefer to look forward and on to the next challenge. So there's not really anything I regret as such.
Okay. I guess, have you got any advice for people who might be interested in apprenticeships at Bellway in terms of how they can maximise opportunities available to them? Because you mentioned before, there's, once you got into the sector, you realise there's huge potential and huge opportunities.
Yeah. Well, first thing I would say go for it. I think a career in house building can be interesting, varied. I think it offers long-term career prospects and opportunities for progression across all the different functions. And I mentioned some of them earlier, but you've got sales, you've got construction, you've got land and planning, you've got technical and engineering, and you've got commercial and procurement. So there's lots of different areas you can consider. And I'd say to maximise your opportunity, if you get interviewed, you need a good quality CV. I would say do your research into Bellway and the industry in general, and just show passion and enthusiasm for the role if you do get the opportunity to be interviewed. Keep an open mind over the job roles that are available, and be flexible in the early stages of your career, because you might think that you want to go down one route, but actually you might enjoy a different route. You don't know until you get that opportunity. And I think after if you do all of that, I think as an industry and as Bellway, we can teach you the rest.
Great advice, thank you. Just rounding off with a couple of bits of actionable advice for listeners. What do you think is the most important step to take if people think, right, I want to start a career with Bellway?
I think the important first step to take is obviously look at what we are advertising on our website. There'll be apprenticeship opportunities. I think I've touched on it already. You want a good quality CV and then apply for the role. And I think also do your research. I think that's key as well. Do your research, not just on Bellway, but on the industry in general.
Great advice. And on that note, I would say to anyone who is interested, if you visit our career site, which is www.bellwaycareers.co.uk, you'll find all of our current vacancies, along with some handy tips on writing a quality CV, as Tony mentioned, and also a lot of information about us as a company. And I would also advise anyone who's interested in a career in the sector, take a look at Go Construct, because they've got lots of information on their website about different career pathways and lots of testimonials from people who do the job. So Tony, just to finish off, really interesting talking to you. Lots of stuff that's going on at Bellway, particularly in your area. If listeners are interested in finding out more about the work that you're doing, where can they go to kind of connect with you and learn a little bit more?
So I'm on LinkedIn. If anybody needs to connect with us, they'll find us on LinkedIn, and I'll happily accept any invitations. But also, if they wanted to find out a little bit more we've talked a lot about sustainability. I think go on to Bellway's sustainability website, which is sustainability.bellwayplc.co.uk, and you'll find out all about our Better with Bellway strategy on there.
Brilliant. Tony, thank you so much for talking to me this morning. Thank you for listening to Brickingit with Bellway, and thanks to Tony for joining us and sharing his career journey and what it takes to progress. Head to the show notes for more information on the different early careers options available at Bellway and how to apply. We'd love to have you on the team.